All righty. Welcome everybody tonight. We're so excited that you could take a few minutes out with us to hang out and hear some stories of how we used to be mombies and now we are back to the living. So, just to introduce myself, my name's Kara Allen, and we are going to first hear from Shannon. She's going to share her story, and then I'll tell you a little bit about some of the products that we use, but it will be super short because we don't want to bore you tonight. And then we're going to hear some more stories about us coming back from the dead since it's Halloween time. So, all right, Shannon, take it away.
Okay, so I am a mom, hopefully not a mommy anymore. I have two teenage kids, one in college, one still in high school, but they're both still living at home. And my story, I guess, starts when a few years ago I started having some really bad abdominal pains, and I didn't know what it was caused by, but it would even keep me up at night sometimes. And I just had some, bathroom troubles. We don't need to go into too much detail there, but some issues in the bathroom that I was trying to hopefully get cleared up also. And so I was looking for natural remedies. That's normally my go-to is, what can I do naturally or at home first to fix some problems? And I learned that I needed probiotics. So I had a friend recommend the Plexus Probio 5 to me, and went ahead and started with the triplex, and it worked. So my stomach issues started to go away, and my bathroom troubles got cleared up, and I have not had those problems again for 2.5 years. In addition to those things, I had some other issues going on that I really wasn't looking to try to fix, but things that I had just accepted as normal or goes along with getting older, norm for me was allergies and asthma. I had those things my whole life. I took medications for them my whole life. I carried around an inhaler my whole life. And I have not needed that inhaler or my allergy medications for the past 2.5 years since Plexus. That was a big bonus side effect that I didn't expect or even know that Plexus would help with. And then when I started Plexus, I was told that it would help me sleep better and help my sugar cravings go away. And I did not believe those things, I didn't think I needed to sleep better, but my sleep has improved, so that's nice. And then my sugar cravings did go away, which I was a little nervous about at first because I have a big sweet tooth and I kind of like my sugar habit. And I was a little nervous about, losing my sugar cravings and not enjoying all the yummy treats that I was used to in my life. But my cravings have gone away, and I still enjoy a sweet treat every once in a while, but it's not like I have to have it. I don't turn into the crazy monster tearing apart the kitchen looking for some hidden piece of chocolate anymore, which I may have done before. So some other bonus side effects are that my joints don't hurt. I was having some, just like I said, kind of like feeling my age a little bit and feeling like, my hips are kind of achy in the morning or overnight when I'm sleeping on my side, or, my knees are creaking when I'm going up and down the stairs. And, those things have gotten better and don't bother me anymore. I don't have to nap anymore. I used to nap as often as I could, not every day, but as often as I could. And I loved the days that I would babysit my little nephew because I knew that that was a good excuse to lay down with him and take a nap. And I would look forward to that. So I don't nap anymore. I don't even feel like I need to or want to. I had recently had a hysterectomy before I started Plexus, which had thrown my hormones just into chaos. And I was having, a bunch of different symptoms of hormone imbalance. And those things cleared up pretty quickly within a couple months, I would say, of using the products. I am not losing hair anymore. like I was before. I used to lose it in clumps, and now I just might lose a couple strands here and there when I brush my hair or shower, but nothing like the handfuls that I was before. Along with not having allergies anymore, which is such a huge blessing. That was like a chronic daily issue for me. And along with that, I can wear contacts again. I had not been able to for a long time, and I wasn't sure if it was allergies or if my body changed, something changed after I had my second baby, because that's when the problems with my contacts started. But I can wear them now all day long with no irritation, no swelling, redness, or all that gunk built up like they used to. And so that's really nice, because I don't always like to wear glasses every day. I can eat dairy again. I was taking lactose, or the little lactose supplements before, to be able to enjoy my ice cream, which I craved every night. And now when I want to eat dairy, I can, without having to take any enzymes to be able to digest it. I also don't have to take my tummy medications anymore that I was taking. I don't have to take my allergy medications anymore. I don't have to use my inhaler anymore. So I love the freedom of not taking a medicine cabinet with me everywhere I go. That's really nice. And then in addition to all the physical benefits, another side effect is that my husband can sleep better. Apparently I used to wheeze really bad, just, with my asthma. And he thinks I may have had sleep apnea. I never got tested, but he said it sounded like I would stop breathing, or I would kind of like choke or cough in my sleep. And so my poor husband would wake up throughout the night to check on me and make sure that I was okay. And now he gets to sleep through the night. So that's, a big blessing for him. And then I have also felt a lot of mental and emotional and social blessings and benefits from this group of people that I joined. We just have the most amazing team, and everybody supports everybody else. And I've made lots of new friends, and I really feel the hole that I didn't know I had, that I didn't know I needed. And so I'm just really grateful and feel very blessed, physically and emotionally and socially. So that is my story.
Thank you so much, Shannon. And I have to totally second that I didn't know Shannon, I didn't know Carrie, I didn't know Joey before I started Plexus. And that is definitely a huge perk, to have these beautiful ladies in my life now that I would not have had. So I agree. I did not know that I needed a little bit more of a support circle around me. So thank you so much for sharing your story. You definitely sounded like one of the Walking Dead. And now you sound like you are thriving and back to the living. So glad to hear your story. Okay, I'm going to share my story a little bit. Before I do, though, she mentioned the triplex, and the triplex is what I started on as well. I actually started on the triplex and X Factor. And so the triplex is 3 products. The triplex is, sorry, I'm going to switch. Can you guys see me? Is it going to my picture? Okay. For some reason, it's just staying on Pretty Shannon on my screen. But anyway, as long as you can see. So anyway, the triplex is 3 products, and the first product is our pink drink. So a lot of people have heard about our pink drink, and it's actually called Slim. I wish it was called Balance, because it really does balance the body. And when your body is in balance, it then knows whether it needs to shed weight or gain weight, or if it doesn't need to do either one. So I really love the pink drink because it goes in and it balances your hormones. It has a lot of chromium in it, and chromium balances insulin. Insulin then trickles down and balances all of your other hormones. And so when your master hormone, insulin, comes into balance, you start to sleep better. You start to have more energy. Your sugar cravings go away. Your mood stabilizes. And so a lot of that is what Shannon described. And then the triplex also has 2 gut health products in it. And our 2 gut health products are ProBio 5 and BioCleanse. So ProBio 5 is a 3-in-1 product. It has digestive enzymes, it has probiotics, and it has an antifungal. So it's basically just this Mac Daddy product that goes through, it kills off all the overgrowth of candida yeast and bad bacteria, and it rebalances your gut to the 80% good bacteria that it should be, and the 20% bad bacteria that should be there. And then the BioCleanse works with it to help get rid of that gunk that it's collected and get it out of your body gently. When you start to absorb magnesium, it supports over 300 processes in your body. And so your body starts to function better. Your headaches start to go away. Your restless legs start to go away. Migraines start to go away. You start to sleep better. It helps with mood, all these different things. So those 3 work together synergistically, and we call them the triplex. And then the X Factor is our multivitamin that has aloe, and it's also fully methylated, which means absorbable. So I tell you those 4 because that's what I started on for my story. And so when I first heard of Plexus, it was 6 years ago. And I thought it was one of those quick fix weight loss things. I didn't believe in those. I still don't. And so I said, heck no, I don't want to see that. I don't even want to look at it. And I didn't for 2 years. And then the only reason why I ever looked at it was because my sister started first. So my sister had just moved to Minnesota, and she was kind of homesick a little bit. She has 4 kids in 7 years. 2 of them are twins. And so she often had her hands full. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to go out and surprise her. Well, if you knew my sister at all, there's 2 things that stand out. One, she has struggled with depression all of her life since she was a teenager. And so she's been on antidepressants, and she would cope in life a lot by sleeping. She was often sleeping. And then the second thing was she loved her Coke. She had to have her Coke all day long. I remember being in college, and she would roll over and take a warm swig of Coke and then go back to bed. Like, it was her lifeline. It was an IV drip for her. So I went out to visit her, and there was no Coke in her house, and she was excited and happy and thriving. We went to the mega mall. Like, we were out and just having a lot of fun. And so finally I said, what are you doing? You're completely different. And she said, I actually started Plexus. Have you heard of it? And I said, what? Yes, I have. Like, that's terrible. What are you doing? That's just a quick fix thing. And she said, no, it's all about gut health. So I went home, and being the skeptic that I was, I took 3 more weeks of checking it out before I started. And the only reason why I really started was right before I went to see her, I had seen a hormone doctor because my period had gotten to the point where it was a month long. And then I had a 5-day break, and then another month-long period. I had all the PMS that came with that. I don't know how I'm still married, but I was momzilla for sure. And so I was basically at the point where my doctor did some labs, and she said, your hormones are normal. They're all in the normal range. They're low, but they're normal. So I could start you on some therapy, some hormone therapy, but I really don't want to because you're still young. And I was like, well, I don't want to either. And so she said, well, think about it. I went to see my sister. I came back, and that's where I was at. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to try Plexus. It won't work. And then I'm going to go do the hormone therapy. So I started Plexus, and within 3 weeks, I had a regular period. And so I kept going. Within 7 months, my periods were pain-free. Along the way, I started sleeping better like a hubby. I wasn't taking an hour to fall asleep anymore. I was waking up rested. I had energy. I felt like sleep actually worked again. And then at 14 months, our secret little wish of getting pregnant came true. We had been trying for 3 years to get pregnant and had not been able to. And I felt like my hormones finally balanced at that point where I was able to actually get pregnant. So we had our beautiful little Plexus baby. I took my products the whole time I was pregnant. She's my best pooper to this day, maybe too good. But she, like all my other babies, was a C-section baby and a bottle-fed formula baby. And so all my other kids have struggled with constipation, but she does not. She's a healthy little pooper. So anyway, so that's a little bit about my story and about how I kind of came back from the dead. One thing I forgot to mention too, like Shannon, was that I used to take 2 naps a day. I had to take a nap right after I took my kid to school. I would sleep for 2 hours with my toddler in my bed watching shows, and then I would take another nap in the afternoon. I had to have 2 naps. I was exhausted all the time. So now I don't nap at all, unless it's Sunday and I want to because I like it, because you need those Sunday naps. but it's because I get to choose, and that's a totally different type of life. So anyway, super excited to just be back among the living of my own family and not be momzilla to my husband and my kids anymore. So, all right, we're going to turn it over to Carrie, and she's going to share her story for us.
Hi, I'm Carrie. So my story, let's see, I have done Plexus for almost 2 years now. When I was 13, I was diagnosed with anxiety. They put me on anti-anxiety meds, which actually caused me to have severe depression. And I gained about 40 pounds. And for a 13-year-old, that's pretty much the end of the world. I was already taller than everyone else too. And so it just added to everything. And anyway, it's a pretty miserable time. My mom took me off the meds really quickly, but the side effects lasted a really long time. And so I am now married, and then I went on a mission and kind of just learned how to deal with my anxiety. I have what we now know is actually ADHD-induced anxiety. So I just have so much going on in my brain all the time that I get depressed or I get anxious because I just can't think straight all the time. And so now that I know as an adult, that's great. But then about 3 years ago, we started suffering with infertility. We have twins who are 5.5, almost 6, and they were spontaneous. And so we had no problem. It took us about 9 months to get pregnant with them. And then I kind of fell into a situational depression about when they were about 3. And about 3.5, when they were 3.5, I started taking meds. And I kind of hid it from my husband. No one knew. I found a bottle that I'd been prescribed when they were newborns. And I said, Mom, is it still okay to try? She's like, yeah, you're fine. Just try them and then go see your doctor. So I did that and I felt better. But I just wasn't happy. I just wasn't happy. But I'm really good at faking it. I am like a professional faker, that my husband didn't even know how bad it had gotten. I was on the floor probably about 2 months after we moved and was just so sad, thinking I wanted to leave my kids, and I knew I was done. Gosh, I still cry about this. And it was so hard on meds, and I just wasn't happy as a mom. And we were dealing with infertility, and we still are. Plexus has not healed that part of us. About 7, I guess it would have been about 8 months later, my friend kind of posted about Plexus, and I am such a skeptic like Kara. I'm not someone to just jump in on it, but I did. It felt like I needed to right away, and I don't know why. And I just did it without my husband's approval or anything. I kind of just jumped in, and I refused to sell it for about a year. I refused to because it took me a long time. I am not a person. It took about 6 months to get off my antidepressants and about another 3 months before I felt like a normal person again. So that's 9 months on products, and that's a lot of money to spend when you are just doing it and you're not seeing quick results. And so I just had committed to a year because infertility treatments are expensive. And I knew that compared to infertility treatments, $200 a month was nothing. And so I was like, well, a year of that's, $200 a month times 12. Like, that's still better than IVF, or an IUI is $1,200 a month. So anyway, so I did it, and about a year later, I started noticing more and more. I think the first thing I noticed is I wasn't falling asleep in the car anymore with my kids. I was scared to drive them sometimes, and my husband didn't really know that. I get up early and I teach English from about 4 to 6 a.m., 4 to 6:30 a.m. And by the end of the day, I was just exhausted. I didn't take naps because I couldn't take naps. Naps just made me more tired. So I would never take naps, but I was exhausted all the time. And usually it was if I was in the car driving, and I was scared to take my kids because was afraid I was going to doze off and cause a major accident. And so I still did it, and I kind of suffered through that. But that was the first thing I noticed with Plexus, probably a couple months in, was that I wasn't falling asleep at the wheel. And it never was dangerous. I was pretty careful about how far I drove, so it wasn't going to kill my kids. But that was the first thing I noticed, was that I could make it from here to about 45 minutes away and not fall asleep. And so now I've been on the products almost 2 years, and I notice when I eat things, dairy for me is almost out. I still eat it. Where cute Shannon can eat dairy again, my body, now that it's healed, is like, no, we really don't like dairy, and we really don't like sugar, and we really are going to start being really inflamed if you eat anything that I don't like. So my inflammation comes faster is what I think I notice most. But I know what my body likes and what it doesn't like. And I think that's one thing I really like about Plexus, is just that while it hasn't healed the one thing I was hoping it was my infertility, it's made me more able to deal with my anxiety around it. And I don't get anxiety anymore. Even finishing a basement that has to be done in 10 days, I have not hyperventilated and I have not freaked out, and we're getting it done. And so I just think that I feel like being in control of your emotions is an amazing gift. And I think that that is probably the thing I've noticed most in the last 20 months, is that control of your emotions, where you can talk through your depression and talk through your anxiety, because you're still going to have it. You're still human. You still have situations that are around you, but being able to be like, work through those without completely falling off of everything. So there you go.
Thank you so much, Carrie. And I totally agree. What I love about Plexus is that it is not a quick fix. It takes time to take a train, slow it down, turn it around, and get it going the other direction. And so committing to the long haul is what's so important. It took my sister over a year to get off of her antidepressants, but she is thriving now. And like you said, it's a totally different life when you can control your emotions and when you are able to feel the full emotions of your life. So thank you so much for sharing that. And I'm so excited to see what more is to come for you, Carrie. So, all right, we're going to hear from Joey last. She's going to wrap it up for us tonight.
Hi guys, I am so excited to jump on here and share a little bit of my journey. And aren't these stories so amazing? Like, I sit here and I'm just in awe when I hear the stories. This is why we share. This is why we share our stories, because every one of us have different stories. Plexus will heal different things for each of us, because you got to address what your body has to do first. So for me, I have been on the products for about a year, and when I found Plexus, I didn't think it was for me. I didn't think that I would see any benefits from it, but I instantly knew of a myriad of people that needed these products, and I didn't feel comfortable telling them that they should take the products if I wasn't starting it with them. And so I started the products, and then got a couple people to do it with me as my accountability partners, and it was so much fun. So we kind of linked arms, and then we'd encourage each other along. I quickly found that I found lots of benefits. I was a momby. I didn't realize I was a momby until I wasn't, I guess. So I was exhausted, just like these guys, all the time. I would fall asleep reading books to my kids, and I just wasn't showing up for them. I was impatient. I wanted to be a mom my whole entire life, and I felt like I wasn't showing up. I felt like I was really missing out, and I hated that. But I eventually found that my naps went away. I realized I was suffering from anxiety quietly. I didn't realize what it was. I just knew I was impatient with my kids, and I wanted to like do this all the time, or just shut them out of my room and just like leave me alone. But yeah, so just like these, I experienced a lot of anxiety. It took about 3 months. It takes 90 days for cells to regenerate, for serotonin to start boosting. And so that 3 months was a huge turnaround for my body. My mom, who I started the products on with me, has suffered from chronic depression my entire life. And she took about 5 months, and it was so hard because I had an experience with the products, and she was like, they're not working. And I kept just urging her, like, stay with it, because she saw small wins. And so at 5 months, she kind of woke up, and it was like there was color in the world again. The light had been switched on, and she had sunshine coming out of her heart. And it was so fun for the first time in my life to experience her just being happy. And Plexus is such an amazing tool for so many of us to use, to just take the edge off, to make life more bearable. So many of us are quietly suffering, And when you can just use Plexus as a tool, as a weight loss tool, as a tool to feel better, as a tool to not drink energy drinks and sugar, to not drink all that or eat that crap because you just feel better. It's such an amazing tool, and it's part of my nutrition budget. So I look at my food and I know that Plexus has to fit into that budget somewhere, because I know my whole entire family feels better. My kid, I have a very high energy kid, and he takes a lot, and he does better. So I don't feel like he has ADD or anything. I think he's just a normal boy, but he does better with focus and attention on the products. My husband does better with his stress, his work stress, and he's nicer to the family as well. We have a better relationship because we can communicate. We both have anxiety, and apparently, and so without it, our relationship's amazing. And I had stomach issues in high school that were extremely painful, and I had healed a lot of that, but I always had like bad gas and things like that you just don't want as a woman. And that all went away. That was great. But yeah, I just feel like this amazing community that I didn't even know existed, and the support that comes from them, and the instant friends that you make. It's been such an amazing journey, and I'm so grateful that I'm showing up in my life due to these products, really, in all ways, financially, with my family, with my health, with my friends. Like I'm just showing up. Like I had reclused for a long time, and I finally am excited to be part of the world again. So that's my story.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, Joey. And it's so funny for me to hear you tell your mom's story, because I have only known your mom through Plexus. And so I look at Lynn, and she just seems like this ball of fun, and she's so happy. And so it's so interesting for me to hear that she was not always that way. So I love hearing what the products have done for her too. And I can attest that nobody wants gas and bloating, not just the women, but these products have been amazing for my husband in that area too. And we are much happier, and he is happier. So I really just love, like you said, how they are a tool. They're not the end all. We're not saying they're a cure or anything like that, but what they do is fill in the gaps in your body really well. For me, I always thought exercise and nutrition were all that you needed, but I always felt like something was missing. And so when I started supplementing with good quality supplements, I found my missing tool, and they have really just filled in the gap to balance out my body. So I think that's what you've heard from the stories tonight too. We're so grateful that you all took some time just tonight to hear our stories. We hope that they helped, and that they might have related a little bit to what you might be going through. If you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to your friend that introduced you, and they can help you with any questions you might have. We'll let you go, and we hope you have a great October and a happy Halloween. See you guys.